Did you listen to Jeff and Professor Hamo in the morning? Here's what you missed.
Mission. And she has a little baby boy who turns 6 years old on the 4th of July. Today he turns 6.
Independence Day.
What a story. Welcome to Hot 96.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Katrina. I'm from Sorobby, staying down home.
So, you're 37.
Yes.
You were 30
Yes.
when they diagnosed you.
Yeah.
What prompted that? Because, you know, at 30, what prompted it?
I was having issues with, I had a lot of fainting, nose bleeding, and a lot of headaches. But before that, I always used to suffer from anemia. For more than 10 years, I was being treated for anemia.
And anemia is what? Low blood pressure?
Yes, low blood.
Low blood.
Yes, low blood. So I was on and off the hospital due to lack of enough blood. I was doing transfusions until now in 2030.
When you started fainting and all kinds of things?
Yeah, the same symptoms I had when I was being treated with anemia.
Yeah.
And then when it got so bad, that is when the doctor told me they were going to try something different, a different test.
The same doctor, or you went for another opinion, or what did you do?
No, the same doctor.
Same one. And he took some tests?
Yes.
And he came back and said what?
And I remember that day he told me, when I did the test, he told me it was going to take like 2 weeks before I get the results. And when I went back, he didn't tell me about the results. He told me to go with a caregiver or with someone. So now that is when I realized maybe it was something tough.
Serious.
Yeah, serious. But eventually I didn't go with anyone. So he thought I was stubborn. So that time I went alone. He told me, Katrina, you have leukemia. And I looked at him and I was smiling because leukemia, anemia, I didn't know what it was then. So to me, I thought it was advanced anemia.
Okay.
So I looked at him, I smiled, and he asked me, why am I smiling? I said, it is okay. I know I have had it. And he smiled, he didn't tell me anything else. And he asked me now, what about treatment? I asked him, should I continue with the same treatment? So I think he saw I was lost because I didn't understand what really was the problem. And I went home. On my way home, I decided to call my brother. So I asked my brother. I told my brother, a friend of mine has been told has leukemia. What is that? And my brother told me, he said in Kiswahili, says, hiyo ni cancer ya damu na haiponi. That is when my world came crashing. Now I realized what that was.
Yeah.
And everything changed.
Huh?
Yes. That is when it hit me.
Did you start crying? Did you...
I was in shock. A few minutes after that, I think I collapsed because the next thing I found myself in a Nairobi hospital. And later I went home. But I didn't tell anyone. That was actually in 2011, around November. So I kept to myself in November, December, January. I didn't tell anyone.
No, not your parents, not your siblings, nobody?
No. At that point, now I knew now it was dead.
Were you taking any medicine, any medication?
I even stopped taking the anemia medicine because now what I saw was dead. It's cancer. It's dead.
And then when were you given 6 months to live?
When it continued, the fainting and things got worse. I would wake up bleeding from the ears, the nose, dizziness, headaches. Then I realized it was getting bad. And it was a wake-up call because I thought, no, even if I'm dying, not now. Let me just know what the procedure is. So I went back to the same doctor. But unfortunately, he told me it had advanced and we were looking at 6 months to live. Yeah. Then again, my world came crashing and literally I ran away.
To where?
I went to Rwanda. I went with my spouse and our daughter. By then, we had a daughter who was 5 years. And I just wanted to die far away where my family will never know. It was cancer that killed me.
What?
Yes.
Why? You were ashamed or what, or you were just in denial or what was it?
I think I was in denial because at that time, at those years, cancer, nobody talked about cancer. And the few cases we had heard about cancer, they led to death. So cancer, by then it was just a death sentence. So the thought of it and I just didn't say anyone time living. And now again that the doctor has told me it's 6 months, I knew even if I try anything else, I only had those 6 months.
What did your husband say?
He just, at first he said we should go to the hospital again and try the treatment. But then I was not ready for it. So he granted my wish.
To go to Rwanda?
Yes.
And do what?
Before that, I was a tour operator, and I used to. I said one day I want to go to Rwanda and see the gorilla. You know, it was more of a death wish to me.
Bucket list. Like a final wish.
Yes.
Bucket list.
Yes.
You just wanted to go see the gorilla.
Yes. Yes. And then I just died. Peacefully.
Yeah.
But then when I got to Rwanda, things got worse. With time, we went and we settled. Actually, we left in March. It was in March, I think 23rd in March, and we stayed there for a month, 2 months, and then I was able to see the gorilla, and then I was supposed to die in September 2012. So as the months came, I think it was still mental, because I got weaker every day, I got worse every day. And then when it got to July, we went to a hospital called King Pfizer, but then there was no treatment there. And I was ready to just try something to keep me alive for some time. And unfortunately, they didn't do the treatment. So again in July, when it got worse, I was back in Kenya. And in Kenyatta, and I was ready to start whatever treatment that was there.
And you told your 5-year-old daughter?
Yes, she worked with us. And this time when I was starting treatment, most of the time I used to look at her and I tell her, someday mommy might go to heaven. And this is what to expect. Mommy might not be here. So we worked with her until, even during treatment, during chemotherapy.
Did she understand at 5 years old that, why is mommy going to heaven? Did she understand?
Okay, then I think she understood a little bit. She knew mommy might not be. She thought it was just a journey. Maybe I'll travel and then come back. Yeah, she didn't think it would be something like that. But I thought it would have been better to prepare her so that when she grows up, she can remember I had told her I was going somewhere. Yeah.
My goodness. And your husband all this time standing by your side?
Yes, he did. He did.
So you're in Kenyatta now for you're back in July.
Yeah.
You've got 2 months to live.
Yes.
And you're in treatment.
Yes.
What happens?
And then I started treatment. I started the chemo. My body was too weak. I went down to 30 kgs, a whole adult.
What?
So at some point, my body could not hold chemotherapy. So the doctor told me to talk to someone, advised me to see a nutritionist. So I was put on diet therapy for some time to boost the immune and also to gain back strength. And then came September, I waited for that, and then the month ended. So every day I would wake up thinking, am I still there? You know those days you're like,
yes.
And
Sitafungua macho.
So when October came, October is my birthday month. And it was 20th. 20th is my birthday.
Mashujaa.
Yes. So I thought God has given me a bonus. At least a week, 2 weeks. And then I realized, no. The doctor might have said this is the end, and maybe it was a new beginning. So it's then I realized even if I was going to die, I won't die. In my heart, I told myself, I won't die a coward. I'll die fighting. That hope. I started having hope. Lived one day at a time. And I will tell God, even if it's just today, I started now accepting. Yeah.
You're still in Kenyatta?
Yes, I'm still in Kenyatta. And I did, they said, I was told treatment for leukemia was only to be done through bone marrow or stem cell.
Correct.
Which was not available here. So I was either to go to South Africa or go to UK or India. But now that did not even cross my mind because we didn't have any resources. My family had sold whatever we had for those two years, 2012, 2013 during treatment. So they said they can only manage me, living one day at a time. And at some point when I looked at my daughter, I saw it was worth being managed for as long as it will last. Yes.
Bob Collymore had stem cell surgery. He went through stem cell.
In the UK?
Yeah. But his just didn't kick in. It just didn't, he relapsed 3 times. 3 times he relapsed. My goodness. So now what are you thinking? Are you still thinking you're on borrowed time or at that point?
Yes, at that point, I knew it wouldn't go long, because at some point the doctor told me that I cannot do the chemo for a long time. But I did it for 2-3 years. The third year in 2015, I did an MRI in 2014 December. And then again the results were, it showed now again brain tumors. And again, that is when I was told I had to go to India now for the stem cell. Again, there were no resources. But I thank God, because a friend talked to a friend, and someone put a paper, my story on a paper, and Kenyan sent me to India.
Wow. You raised enough money.
Yes.
Strangers.
Yes.
How long did that take? How soon after did you go to India?
A month after.
A month.
Yeah.
And in India?
In India, I stayed for 6 months.
And who gave you the match? Because you have to match with bone marrow, right?
Yes, I did the stem cell, and when I got there, as I said, we didn't have any resources. So let me say it was just God's favor, because it was a donation from the hospital. They just gave it to me.
In India?
Yes.
Just like that?
Yes.
Just like that?
Yes. It was like they were testing, because even to them, by the time I went there, they said it was really advanced.
Yeah.
And they told me whatever they were going to try, to either leave me crippled, maybe like a cabbage, not able to do anything, or in a wheelchair, or even die.
They give you those options?
Yes. But this time, because it's something they were trying.
Yeah, it was very experimental, very new.
Yes. But at that point, I had no choice. So I just said, I signed the papers, and I was ready for whatever happened.
And then?
Then I stayed there for another 3 months and came back.
How were you feeling in those 3 months?
The 6 months I was there, I won't lie to you, it wasn't easy. You are isolated, you're in a room on your own, machines are all over. It's like the way we see in the movies, electrocuted, then some things are put in your head. Because they say there were so many, so they cannot do surgery. So they had to look for a way to shrink the tumors. So it was
rough.
But it was rough. It was rough.
Did you have family with you?
Yes, I had my spouse with me.
Throughout?
Yes, throughout.
What does this man do? You want to meet this man?
Yeah, this is the person.
What does he do?
He works in information technology. He's in Rwanda as we talk.
Is he Rwandese?
No, he's Kenyan.
Okay.
Yeah.
This thing with you in Rwanda.
He just went a few months ago.
Okay.
Actually, last month.
Oh. So now, 6 months later, they release you.
Yes,
did they say it was successful? What did they tell you?
No, they just told me they had done their part.
Yeah.
So they had actually asked me to stay there for 1 year. But again, due to resources, I had to take a break, come back home, and then maybe plan again to go back. So when I came back, they said it was trial and error. They only told me to stay in the house, no infection, just I avoid that. And
avoid crowds.
Yes, and that is what I did. And then again, I went back for another 3 months. And it wasn't so clear. I still had the cancer cells after the PET scan.
But how were you feeling? Were you weak? Were you fit?
I was very weak, but then again I felt some relief because the headaches were no longer there. The pains were not there. I would feel my head was heavy, but there were no pains. Okay. So to me that was a relief because I had been used to the headache. So any day without a headache, I felt abnormal.
No
pains. Yes, it had stopped. It had stopped. So now again in 2016 I went back for a PET scan and the results were not so clear. So I went again the second time in 2016 and that is when the results came, no cancer cells found.
What?
Yes.
What?
Oh
yes.
man.
Gone.
Yes, gone.
Everything gone.
Everything
Somebody
gone.
who was supposed to die. Everything is gone now.
What did you do to the Indian doctors? I mean,
utawafanyia nini?
Did you think
because even then what they said, they told me that they actually said the source you worship, because this is not medicine. That is what they said. Even if it is medicine, but there is something else. Because they also, there was something else.
Are you a religious person or did you suddenly become one?
I'm not religious. Because I remember after the diagnosis, I asked God, why should I have this? And I stopped even praying and I just didn't want to hear anything about God.
Correct.
Yeah. But then later, I came to realize He had a hand in my healing.
Wokovu Street. At what source? What source did you
said,
whichever source that you answer to, that is what helped you. So you can't. So now you finish with India,
Yes.
and you come back home.
Yes.
Then what? You break the news to the family, to the.
I was still scared of breaking the news.
In case
Either way, I wasn't so sure cancer would also disappear.
It might come back.
Yeah, it might come back, and that is a stigma that I've had until, like, I think around last year, beginning of last year. Because every time I shared with them, but I didn't want to go public because I was scared of whatever I say, it is gone, and then it comes
Suddenly
back.
comes back.
Because whatever I did was like more of a try and error, and I don't know if it is, so the stigma was there. But then again, the doctor told me, it is clear for now and you're in remission, and you could live for up to 5 years. So to me, I am not even thinking about the 5 years.
No.
I believe that even after those 5 years, this is the second year now.
This is
On the
second.
5 year.
And at the same time, you had been told you would never be able to have another child.
Yes. Because our daughter is 12 years now.
She's 12.
Yeah, she's 12. So sometime last year, I got unwell again, and I went to the hospital, and the doctor tells me I'm 2 months pregnant, and I'm like, how now? It's not possible. It's not possible.
What?
The
Yes,
sauce.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
This is why you are unwell.
Yes.
Unatapika.
Unafikiria imerudi.
Most of the time I thought this monster is back. I was so sure now this monster is back.
Yeah.
So I went again down, and then when the doctor told me the news, I was scared. I was happy and scared because one, I was still on the maintenance drug.
Okay.
When you're in remission, you're given a maintenance drug for the next 5 years. So I'm taking maintenance drug. They are very strong now.
It could
There's
affect
a
the child.
pregnancy. Yeah.
Yes.
So I go to my doctor and I tell him, and he says, I'm not going to risk your life, so we are going to do a medical termination. And I'm like, no, if it came, it's not by mistake. God knows why it is here.
Yes.
And we argued, and I told him, even if it's the last thing I'll do, I will do it. I'll carry it until where Kitoka ni sawa. If it doesn't, to the very end.
But did you think maybe there's possibility you might give birth to a deformed or abnormal child?
Yes. But I thought as long as it will be alive, I will keep it.
And when the little man arrived?
I cannot imagine it. I cannot express the joy because he came early. Because again, sometimes in last year, end of last year, the conversion started again, the faintings again, and then I went to a different hospital and they said I had to do a brain MRI. And when I looked at the request form, they had said they wanted to check if there's a mass or tumors. So I was scared. I knew if I do the MRI and if that thing is there, it will be the end of me. So I didn't do it until in January. No, in January, I remember on 2nd, that is when I did the MRI. And it showed there was a large gland, but there were no tumors. So immediately after that, I fell unconscious. I think I was still scared.
Yeah.
And I was put on ICU for a day or two. When I got stable, then they had to do an emergency CS, and I got my baby on January 5th.
Were you afraid you might lose it after having carried it that?
Yes, actually even myself, because I went to the theater, I was given a concept letter to sign, and they told me this is what might happen. But to me, I didn't want to listen. I told them I was ready. Just save my baby. If it's the last thing I do, I repeated those things. If it's the last thing I'll do, just save my baby.
Even if you go?
Yes, I was ready. Yeah.
So how early was he?
He was he came at 8 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little premature, but it's okay.
It's okay. But they had prepared me. They said now because he was 36 weeks, they have to go to the nursery. His weight maybe.
Yeah.
He was 3.3.
Come on.
Miracle baby.
My guy was 3.2.
Full time.
1 more month. Angekuwa kilo 10. Kilo 10. Mambo. My goodness. So he didn't have to. Was he put in an incubator or it wasn't necessary?
He was only put in the nursery because I was unstable just for a few days, and then I was with him.
And then you nursed him properly, you know.
Yes, he has not even started eating.
Yeah.
Today is 6 months, so he begins eating maybe tomorrow.
See, I told you, Independence Day.
Independence Day, the 4th of July.
Yeah.
6 months old today.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And he's right here.
Yeah, he's downstairs. Lazima to pick a picture now. What's his? What did you call him?
Baraka.
Oh, blessing.
Yes.
And your daughter's name?
Michelle.
Okay.
Michelle.
And you are Hurricane Katrina.
Yes. Ndio maana.
This is Hurricane
Anapigana na kila kitu. Mnasema 2 weeks anapita nayo. This is the hurricane.
But my God, Katrina, you, the strength you have, because when people are diagnosed with cancer, and you know, most of the people we know,
yes,
know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who has cancer. And the first thing what you told us earlier on is mental, it's psychological. You say, I am going to die. This is a death sentence.
Yeah.
But you kept going. What kept you going? And you don't tell us believe in God because you were
tayari alisema waliachania pale. Wewe ulikuwa umepanga
ni kama diamond na kizungu.
Yeah, ni hivi.
Great way like that. So what was it that kept you going, Katrina?
I think it is a mental change when I started looking at cancer just like any other disease and not looking at it as a death sentence.
But how? I mean, look.
How do you do that?
Yeah,
You know,
how do you do that? It's easier said than done.
Because the evidence unakila saa unaona.
And you're fainting every other day.
You're in hospital unasikia huyu ameenda rafiki.
How many people do you know who died of cancer?
Many of them. We had a support forum of 23 people when I joined a support forum. That was in 2013. We were 24. The 23 have passed on. I'm the only one.
What?
That group, yes.
They've all gone?
Yes.
Mostly women or mixed?
Women. Women. It was a
They've
women.
all gone?
Yes.
So you can imagine the torture.
Yeah,
You know,
so even me, every day I woke up waiting for my turn.
Yeah.
you
That's
know.
why I said my stigma lasted until last year. Because every time was just fear.
You know what? Bob Collymore always kept talking about one thing. He says, purpose. What is your purpose, guys? What is your purpose? So, Katrina, what is your purpose?
I started my own. I thought of, during my journey, I had joined the hospices, and when we were doing treatment, I would meet kids. And I remember I met this kid. His name was Melvin. May he rest in peace. And he's the one who made me accept my condition, because most of the time he kept telling me, Auntie, kwa nini umevaa kitamba? Because my hair was, I didn't have hair, and him too had a Marvin. Na mimi namuuliza, Melvin, kwa nini wewe unavaa kofia? So he told me it is because he didn't have hair. So I related to this child, and we walked together. So every time I looked forward to go for chemo so I could see Melvin. Melvin looked forward, he was 10 at that time, and I was an adult. But I found my hope and encouragement through this child.
So
I remember, yes, this 10-year-old. So one day he told me, Auntie Kate, in case I go to heaven, he had a wheelchair. I want this wheelchair, you give it to a child. And I was like, where do I get a child to give a wheelchair? And then I said, if this boy is accepting heaven, is looking forward now to, is ready for whatever happens. What about me? I've lived my life. He's just a small boy. So we talked and I told him it is okay. And I told him in case I'll go before, then that wheelchair, he'll give it to somebody else. But unfortunately, he passed on. And he made the mom promise she will look for me to give me the wheelchair.
How soon after did he die?
That was, I think, 2 months after we had that conversation.
Wow.
And that gave me purpose.
What cancer did he have?
He had leukemia too. It was leukemia.
At 10 years old?
Yes, at 10 years old. At 10 years old.
Oh, Katrina, I don't know where you get this from. There's tweets are coming in very thick and very fast. Shiro Mboro, listen to this. Morning, guys. I'm loving the show. My mom died from cancer 6 years ago this August. The worst part is the helplessness you feel watching someone you adore wither away and die. I am happy you survived and are winning.
Thank you, Shiro.
And then John Gurugwe says something very profound. I was actually thinking about this. He says, I can't imagine the amount of pain that allows one to be a guinea pig of survival or death? Because that's exactly what you were, right? Stem cell, still very new and untested. And when did you do stem cell? How many years ago?
I did in 2012.
7 years ago.
No, sorry, 2015.
4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years
very,
ago.
very new. So you were a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Even the Indians told you, you know what?
We are trying.
You could be a cripple all your life. You could be a cabbage, a vegetable.
Or you could die.
Or you could die. There was no at you'll make it.
At the option.
No.
It is for the first time.
Imagine. Have you recommended people to this doctor, to this place in India?
Yes, I have. But luckily, again, now it's like we also have treatment now here. So this is also, by then it was new.
Okay.
Yes.
Even if they're not doing the bone marrow, unless it's for bone marrow or transplant, then I can refer them to India.
Yeah.
But any other cancer treatment, I think we are now good to go.
I asked you earlier on, did you need a match for your bone marrow?
I'd been told to go with my brothers or someone that would match.
Yeah.
But when I got to the hospital, and I think because it was try and error, they decided to use theirs, so I didn't go with
They had their own in the fridge somewhere.
Yeah.
What?
Because usually you do need a match, right?
Yes, you do. You do. And most of the time, you might not even get a match.
Yeah. Tell me something. Did your blood group change once they removed your blood and insert the new blood?
No, it's still A negative.
Okay.
A versus.
Okay. Because Bob Collins' blood group changed.
I think.
Yeah.
So it becomes even more complicated.
From A negative, he became B positive, or whatever it was.
My goodness.
Yeah. And it changes your personality.
Haya.
Yeah.
So alikuwa mtu amechangamka anakuwa mhubiri immediately.
He said.
So before you.
It completely changes your personality because your blood group, your blood type has changed.
Yes.
Sasa umekuwa ka. For instance, what are you? What's your blood group?
Me, I'm O positive.
And I'm B positive. So let's say now you utoe damu yako yote upewe B yangu.
Naanza kuongea hapa na base. Mama go. Just gari baka kwa reception.
And then if I got O, I'd have funny hair.
Unakuwa tu wazimu. Mugoroki. Down. Haya. So you knew him before afanya.
I knew him with the old blood and the new blood.
Did you meet him and say, what is wrong with you? My brother, something has changed. You'd see it. Haya.
Is that the baby?
I think the baby has decided.
Baraka.
That was nice.
So Baraka is, for lack of a better word, he's normal.
Yes, he's normal.
Everything is okay.
Everything is okay. Everything is
No issues.
No issues.
Oh my God. What does his sister think of this new edition?
Wow. She cannot even explain. Because every time now she comes and says, everyone who comes and she tells them, my mom is healed, my mom is not sick. But now she's strictly, when I'm taking something, she tells me, Mom, don't take tea with sugar. Don't take that. We go visit somewhere and she says, no, don't serve my mom with this.
She takes control.
Yes, she does.
Tell me something. Did the rest of your diet change?
Yes, it did. It totally changed. I had to go back to organic, do away with wheat and sugar.
Kabisa.
Kabisa.
But can you eat meat?
I had stopped meat totally. At least now I'm doing it once in a while because of the baby. But I had totally turned vegetarian. I had stopped meat because of the digestion.
Yeah.
To me, it was an issue.
Yeah. What about guache and doma and all kinds of those
That's
things?
my daily food.
Is it?
Yes.
Do you think that has helped?
A lot. It has helped because it has cleansed even the toxin. At least it has really helped.
Sisi wawili. Tunaletea kwa kando tulambe. Yaani tunakunywa kahawa hapa.
Uni wanakula is mbuyu, mabuyu.
Anataka mabuyu.
What's this thing called?
Mabuyu.
From the baobab tree.
The baobab.
This is sugar.
Yes.
So, a lot of people, Katrina, have said that sugar is a big contributor.
It is. It provokes it.
Yeah, I remember a doctor in India told me that sugar feeds the cancer cells.
Because they like the sugar, they
Yeah,
like the
and
sweet
he also
stuff.
said milk spreads the cancer cells. So
Milk.
I stopped, but when I came here, stories are different.
Okay.
Yeah.
A doctor he again said it's okay to take once in a while, but there they said strictly if I could avoid a lot of sugar and a lot of carbohydrates, because the carbohydrates produce a certain glucose that feeds the cancer cells. So when I was told that, I just stopped.
Na kapombe kadogo.
Pombe no.
Inalewesha. So they want to spread but they can't. They are too old.
Lewa huko ndani.
Mimi nataka kwenda kwa kichwa. He's a
My goodness, Katrina, you are a brave soul. Only Moo, she's tweeting all the way from Calgary, Canada, and she's a nurse, by the way. She's actually just finished work. It's night time in Canada right now. So she says, you are such a strong fighter. God is good and you have more years to go.
Amen. Thank you.
Colin Zawino says, Katrina Wanjiru is destined for greatness. May she live longer and longer. Masha DX, formerly of Taxify, now known as
Bold.
As in you saying
Kutoka.
okay. Says, what a touching story from Katrina. Oh my, it's so touching and encouraging how strong this lady is. Masha. Oh, here we go. Oh, more from Masha. He says, Jeff, I remember my late mom died back in 2006 due to lymphatic cancer. Cancer of the lymph nodes. She fought with it for 2.5 years. We really struggled to take her for chemotherapy at Kenyatta National Hospital. And remember, whenever I remember this, I really feel disturbed.
When you know, you never told your family for a long time. You know, hope.
Did you tell them later?
Yes, I told them later.
That I had cancer and I was dying.
Actually, when I came back now for treatment, I couldn't hide. I had to tell them, and this is why I ran away, searching for death. Wow. They worked with me. Both families, all of them, they worked with me.
These people who sent you to India, these strangers, do you know any of them? Have you?
No. I only know now the friend now who told the other friend.
Yes.
The rest I don't know. So I take this special moment to say thank you, a big thank you.
There's someone out there who's suffering from cancer right now, Katrina. Someone who feels like you felt like running away from it all because they feel they're going to die. They say if Bob Collymore, with all the help in the world, could turn around and die, what hope do they have? What do you tell them, Katrina?
I can only tell them to hang on to hope. As I talk, I'm also a mother of 35 kids. I have a kids haven for children battling cancer.
What's it called?
It is called Hope and Courage Kids Connect, HCI Kids Connect. It is a place we give hope and courage. We don't offer medicine or anything. We believe in just hope and courage because we believe no one deserves to walk alone. So whoever is out there, I would advise to take cancer as a normal disease. It's not a death sentence. And there's life after cancer.
If people want to get in touch with you, Katrina, how do they do that?
They can do so through my personal number or even through our website.
Go on.
And our email.
What's the website?
www.hcikidshaven.org.
www.hcihaven.org.
Yeah.
That's the way to get in touch.
Yes.
Remember that, www.hci. What does HCI stand for again?
Hope and Courage.
Hope and Courage.
Yes.
Sonny, very sad. I lost my brother to cancer of the pancreas and 2 aunties to cancer of the colon. To date, I still cannot comprehend seeing them succumb in pain. You are strong, Katrina, very brave. May God walk you through to see 4 of your generations.
Amen.
Tell you I got that 6 children. Oh, you know.
Kinyambi 1960 nasema sugar free is the way to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tutafanya nini? Inatuitaga personal.
What about salt?
No, salt is okay. For me, it hasn't been a big issue.
Na kachumbari kwa mbali?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. For me, I do
Na ile
it.
pilipili ya ukambani?
Okay, don't even.
Italinisha cells. In fact, we need those. Isikasirishe.
Itachukulia. Okay. Finally, advice for people out there and families, because like Sony says, when you watch someone suffering until they die and you're so helpless, give them some advice.
I don't know why, but I'm still in hope. Just walk with them. Sometimes it is tough, but just walk with them. Sometimes you don't want sympathy. You just to be treated normal. Just treat them normal, because it hurts every time. Like today I go somewhere and someone says, that's a cancer patient. Give her first priority. Treat her as normal. Don't be scared of getting the cancer, or even because the fear we see in people. When you come take care of me and I'm going through cancer, I can tell through your eyes. I can see the fear. So that also contributes to my fear, because I'm like, if he's like this, then it means I might not make it. He's scared of something. So what I would say is that if you know someone who has cancer, just walk with them. It's not even for money, but just being there for them.
It's enough.
It is enough. Giving them hope amidst the odds.
Hurricane Katrina, you have taught us a new lesson today. Wow. Unbelievable. Do you believe in God now?
Yes, I do.
Oh, finally.
Yes,
Finally.
If I was to set him aside,
Yes.
I wouldn't even see tomorrow. That I'm sure.
Okay.
Yes.
But it took.
It's my reason and my purpose too.
But it took Wanjiru.
Yes.
Wanjiru. Katrina Wanjiru.
Hey.
And
Catch Jeff Koinange and Professor Hamo every day, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Hot 96.